Welcome from wherever you are watching now. Of course, we've got a massive game, Melbourne and Tasmania coming up. We're going to chat through the week of basketball, but there's a couple of things that you're probably wondering what's wrong with this picture at the moment, because first off, the elephant in the room, what is sitting on my neck? Well, it's a heat pack, because I happened to throw it out while I was watching the racing today. Race one, jumped off the couch, and there goes the neck, and here we are with the nice little bear keeping that thing warm. But the second, my rundown says crossover, but my heart says trash talk, because the man next to me, Peter Hawley, my former podcast, I won't say co-host because I did most of the work, but you were on the show with me. Peter, welcome. A fine replacement for Gibbo.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to this. I might actually get more of a word in this.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Pete. Anyway,
over.
Damon, you ran 60 kilometres today.
What's your point?
At 60 kilometres, that's my point.
This is what we do, man. This is what this. I'm on a mission. That's what it is.
Can I just confirm that is most definitely not what we do?
No.
That is what you do. But anyway, we are going to jump into the basketball because New Zealand and Cairns played last night. Unbelievable contest. Walk past the pub, which is a first for me. Saw Cairns up. New Zealand just run away with the best fourth quarter team in the league, playing unbelievable. Never have we been able to say road dogs more times right now than New Zealand Breakers.
I mean, it's unbelievable, as you said. And look, we thought it was defence meeting offence, which was going to win out. And in the end, the New Zealand Breakers defence, they just play physical. I'm not sure we've seen a more nailed import trio from the start of the season in some time. We know the Kings last year when they brought in Ian Clark. But this is so fun to watch. When the Breakers are up and about, it just feels like everything's right in the world.
They can win grimy. They can win a little bit of a track meet. They got an assassin on the bench in Barry Brown who just cannot not get 20 points a game. Like you said, that trio that they got, those three imports, you talk about nailed it. They just, Gerard Brantley is so underrated, it's ridiculous. So I'm so happy for them because what did they do last year? Play games on the moon? They was all over the place. Now they finally playing basketball in stadiums. They're going to the grand final at this pace.
Oh, we're going to get into some... the hot takes and stuff. We're going to get into some predictions too. But yeah, that game on the moon was a massive disaster. 0-0 ending. You would have thought putting a roof, but putting him in a stadium has worked. The one guy, and we're going to get to the highlights of this game shortly, but the one guy that I think isn't getting as much credit as I think he should is Will McDowell-White. Because for a long time, this guy was a myth. We'd spoken about him, we'd heard him overseas. No, he's great, he's going to get his time. But all of a sudden, he's the cog that's making this thing work. Import's fantastic, but McDowell-White, unbelievable. Triple-double watch every night.
You see the way he sets up the offense, and it's exactly what we wanted to see from Will McDowell-White. It's what we're starting to get, and it's why they're so good. You're right. If any piece misses from this Breakers outfit, I think they might struggle a little bit because it's the perfect puzzle piece, leading with Will McDowell-White. Averages over 6 assists a game. He finds everybody in the right spot. I'm a big fan of Terrell Brantley as well, Damon. I'm glad that you brought him up. And Derek Pardon, just quietly, he's just going about his business. He's an all-NBL first-team contender right now. He is an absolute beast. I've got him as a top 2 defensive player of the year as well. What can't he do?
Derek Pardon is yeoman. He plays both ends of the floor. I've never seen a guy so aggressively try to get other guys open. And if you ever give him the ball, he can finish down low. He can hit you in the chest, shoot the little lefty hook. The guy's just, speaking of the devil, bang right there. Candle Pinder puts him in jail. He runs the floor. He can finish, obviously. The guy's a perfect teammate to have. This guy doesn't need anything run for him, but he's happy for everybody else. Mody Maor's put together a great group, and with Will McDowell-White leading it from the front, the sky's the limit for these guys.
Well, we're showing player highlights at the moment. There's one coach in the league that you could put together coach highlights for, ranting on the sideline. It'd probably be Mody Maor. But Barry Brown Jr., another guy that's just been absolutely unbelievable for the Breakers, playing off the bench as well.
I'm not sure he expected to come off the bench. I know he started a lot of games early, but again, we see this sometimes with imports. They get shifted to the bench and it changes his mindset. He is all history green light team. That man has never seen a shot he doesn't like, and for good reason. He is an absolute bucket. We're talking locks. You can lock this man in right now for best sixth man in the competition. I don't care how good other teams, other players start to go. But the way Barry Brown Jr. is playing, he is absolutely flying, and he loves to talk too. That's what I love about it.
He lives for the moment. Coming off the bench, he's still playing starters minutes. He don't care. He got no ego like that. He just comes on one-on-one off the dribble, can shoot the three, can get all the way to the cup. He sits there and waits his time. But he still moves the ball too, though. So he can get up and down in transition. He can finish. The guy's a complete player. And like I say, the best 3 imports we've seen in a very long time.
A lot of bold prediction there, but my eyes lit up when I saw this on the rundown because, Pete, last year, we're going to get to our mid-season championship predictions. I believe you were the only analyst, potentially in the history of sports, to actually predict every single result wrong.
Yes. But not just wrong. It's actually the last 2 years when we do the way too early predictions. I had the Breakers winning last year. They won 5 games. I had Cairns winning the year before after semi-final series. They finished bottom. So I don't want to even say who's going to win because I know whoever I say is going to win this season is going to probably come last.
Does it have to be way too early? Can it be almost to the start of the season predictions? Why does it have to be way too early?
It was like a week before the season. So
well, let's give us your mid-season predictions right now. I'm going to, I always vomit in my mouth when I have to do it, but I'm going to say the Sydney Kings. I think they're absolutely rolling, and you know how hard it is for me to give credit to the Kings when they deserve it, even when they deserve it. But I'm going to go with the Sydney Kings. They're going to win. You wearing your Kings hoodie right now?
Look, I have to go with the Kings too right now. You talk about depth. I know we're talking about the Breakers, but the depth of this Kings outfit is unbelievable. Well, out on the rundown said that you and I were supposed to be going first with the predictions, but of course, Mr. Talk a Lot over here came in and had a crack. Look, I've got the Kings. The depth is there. Xavier Cooks, he's still the best player in the competition and the best two-way player in the league.
Same, Sydney. Sydney went to New Zealand and put the beat down. Let's not forget. So even though I got New Zealand looking good and possibly, definitely a top 3, top 4 team, somebody's going to have to show the Kings who's boss, and I don't know who out there can do it.
Well, the only man who kept them to account for years was me, but unfortunately I was kicked out of the NBL long ago and won't be able to do that on court. But let's talk about James Duncan, because you'd called for his head, Pete, for weeks.
Absolutely.
You had said this man needs to go, he's not the right fit. You called for his head, and now they've gone and done it. And in amazing style, Sam McKinnon, and the GM, has now stepped up as the head coach in one of the wildest moves I have ever seen in terms of giving yourself a new position. It's sort of, on election night, it's kind of like Scott Morrison giving himself 7 ministerial positions in the cabinet, just under the rug.
Well, let's start with the timing of it, I think, with James Duncan. He is a terrific person. I think he's a great coach as well.
That's not what you were saying last week.
That was an absolute fallacy from the big fella over here. But the timing of it, they started on 5, now they've won 3 of the last 4. It just doesn't sit right with me, the timing of the way it went down. It's going to be tough. They're still missing some key pieces, that last import, to try and bring it all together. And I don't think when James Duncan or this roster was put together, I don't think they envisioned Baines having this output so far collectively. He's had some massive games, but not as big as he could have. Tyler Johnson, Nathan Sobey was always going to be a long process coming back from injury. So, look, there's a lot of sympathy for him, and I think he lands on his feet somewhere. We've seen coaches who are terrific head coaches. Mike Kelly at the Cairns Taipans, and then he gets an assistant coach with Perth. I'm sure James Duncan will be the same.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. All of you should be ashamed of yourselves in Brisbane. What this is. This is a farce. I can't believe this. If you're Greg Vanderjagt and Peter Crawford, you walk. Don't you walk?
Ooh. It depends.
Why stay?
Am I getting severance pay if I walk?
Why stay? They've showed you what they think of you. Let's go with the assistant coach from way back when, instead of going with the guys who's already there. It's a slap in the face to Pete and Greg Vanderjagt. Now, I'm not saying that those guys are long-term options for head coach, but you got to go with the next guy, don't you? Next man up. I thought that was the line. James Duncan, you were made a scapegoat. Somewhere, James Duncan, you pissed off some people. Some people don't like you. Some people that's probably close to you. So I watched a lot of Godfather movies. I've seen the sequels. People that's close to you, they the ones to watch. I think they rolled over on James, and people got colluding behind his back and said, we don't want to play for this guy. That's Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving type stuff. No good. So I think it's a complete and utter farce, and they get what they deserve.
Oh, boy. Oh, the heat starting up. I want to touch quickly on Perth and Adelaide, because Perth, obviously, Brady Maddox starting to come in, cannot get a rebound to save their life at the moment. There's a lot of changes that apparently need to happen according to the Perth fans. What's the biggest one for you guys?
Rebounding is for me. Someone needs to put a job out there. We need to see some rebounding, some glass cleaners come in for the Wildcats. They're the only team in the league that has not won a rebounding contest in any game. They went on a 2-game win streak. They tied both of those, so not technically win. There it is. We need some glass cleaning. We need something in Perth, because it happened last year. I know overall statistically they were down rebounding, but in big games they just didn't have it. It's an SOS. John Mooney, Nick Kay, I know they're never going to get them back, but someone's just going to go in there and rip down some boards.
Effort and heart. That's rebounding. That's rebounding. Effort and heart. And Perth don't have it. They don't have effort and heart, not on a consistent basis. Every now and then, a couple guys can have some cameo performances, 3 to 4 minute stretches. But to do it over the long haul, you need effort and heart. They don't have it.
You know who they need to be playing? Is Ollie Hayes-Brown.
Yes, I agree.
The development player,
Workhorse.
the big mullet, that's all you got to
Workhorse.
do. You've got 5 fouls, go out there, do that effort and heart thing, just crash the glass. Majuk came on the other night, he had 3 rebounds and then barely played again. So I think that there's some other problems as well. Right now, they can't defend a Stobie pole.
I think I just had an out-of-body experience that we just agreed on something for the first time in our lives.
Thanks, man.
It's a special moment, Pete. You're about to fist the handshake, which is a dangerous move. Adelaide, do they need a third import? They got rid of Randall. I think Glenn Rice Jr. is a guy that jumps to mind, the old New Zealand Breakers import, that they could potentially get in there.
You think that is now we're talking one of the worst takes of all time. That is by far one of the worst takes I've ever heard. Glenn Rice Jr., he's a walking 30-piece, where there was no doubt about it. But he was also nearly a walking 30-day suspension.
He was a walking 2-piece on the street. That was his biggest issue.
Everything.
But do they need an import? Right now, I think they're rolling. Never before has a team gotten better after getting rid of the league-leading scorer.
They need another piece. Now, what they already got is really, really good. They're gelling. They're finding some chemistry. I like what Antonius Cleveland and Rob Franks. I'm liking the cohesion between them two. But what makes me nervous, if I'm a 36ers fan, is when Mitch McCarron goes off the court. Who's my point guard? Dreamer, he can come down with the ball. Sunday Dech a little bit, but I need a solid point guard, floor leader, just to stabilize that backcourt. If they can pick up somebody, he doesn't have to be all-world, but just a rock-solid point guard.
Where are you going to find a backup import, though, that's going to come in and play 15 minutes and be potentially ready if Mitch McCarron gets injured or fouled? It has to be an NBL1 import, potentially.
Well, they could potentially just look to their Instagram comment section because one happened to pop up. Scotty Machado commenting that, hey, if they need an import, he's there. Now, I don't know what it is about the NBL comment section on posts being like a recruiting ground for imports. Jerome Randall's been running a presidential campaign to get himself in the league for the last couple of years. Now Scotty Machado in there. Is he a guy we could potentially see in there?
Oh, it'd be great, but again, is he okay with the 15 to 20 minutes? And you say 20, but then Sunday Dech needs minutes. And Anthony Drimmick is playing well enough in this starters minutes, so he's got about 25, 30 in him. I don't know where the minutes are going to come from if you get a big-time import like Scott Machado.
A healthy Machado would be interesting. I would take the phone call. I'm not sure if I'd go that route, though. But look, they're under no pressure to go and get one. I think they're going to just go on a roll right now, so I might just let it just lay for a while.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think they stick fat. I think they're rolling solid at the moment. It's time to throw to a break. We're going to get Sports Bets at the Line show quickly. Coming after that, a whole lot more.
Hello and welcome to At The Line. My name is Simon Legg, and as always, I'm joined at the desk by Josh Jenkins. And Josh, it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back, and it's good to have the NBL back. We went on a little mid-season siesta, a little hiatus, but we're back, and interested to see. We've seen Cairns and New Zealand be surprise packets. Interested to see whether they can keep it up.
Just quickly on the bye, what do you think of it?
Oh, I don't love it, but look, I don't make the rules. I just play by them.
Seems like it kills the momentum a little bit. But anyway, we want to move on to the MVP market because there's been heaps of movement at the top.
Yeah, there has. So you can see Xavier Cook's there, 270. He's got a little ankle issue. He was definitely the best player in the first part of the season. Whether he is, I mean, I couldn't push you in at 270. Bryce Cotton at 4, I think he's too short as well, just because of the Wildcats. They've been struggling. They're 7th on the ladder. I just don't love him at the price, and there's a bit of that fatigue factor as well with the same player winning the MVP often. I think Mitch Creek's the one at $6. The Phoenix are playing well. He's the #1 scorer in the league. He's the one I'd be backing. And Robert Franks, we found him, those who follow this show closely, and I know there are a lot, $12 at the start of the season, $6 now.
You found him. And now moving on to Sunday's game, we've got the Breakers and the Bullets, and there's been some change of foot at the Bullets.
Yeah, there has. It's a bit of a shame. James Duncan, the head coach, goes out. Sam McKinnon, the general manager, former NBL great and former NBL MVP, he said, I'm the best man for the job. So he takes over as the head coach for the Bullets. So he's on the Bunsen burner. He's put himself on the Bunsen burner. So we'll watch that with interest.
And you have a multi for this game?
Of course, a nice same-game multi here. Let's take the points under. I think this will be a defensive slugfest. The Breakers are a good defensive team. Jarrell Brantley, he goes under the radar, this import for the Breakers. He'll get on the glass and get 8+ boards. And Aaron Baines, big Derek Pardon will be in his face. So I think he'll go under 12.5 points.
And the Phoenix and the Hawks.
Yes, this will be a good game as well. The Phoenix have been playing really good basketball. Mitch Creek, as we mentioned before, he's probably the #1 player in the NBL at the moment. So let's have a look at a nice same-game multi for this one. This will be high scoring, plenty of threes from Illawarra. The Phoenix like to get up and down, so over 170.5. Mitch Creek to get on the glass. We know he scores, but he also rebounds. And Sam Froling, he's a contender for all NBL. He'll get over 12.5 points.
I like that one. And if you like it at home and you want to take it on, please gamble responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
A few moments later. "2,000 years later.
If you're wondering what on earth you were just witnessing there, that is Rowdy Barokov hitting 43 three-point shots in a row. Now, you might think the Allen Iverson video, practice. We talk about practice. 43. You got to give credit where it's due. Now, if you did that in a game, I'd be getting a little bit more excited.
I give a lot of credit there because if you watch the actual video, Mitch Creek threw some hospital passes there. The underarm, the ball spinning, he really had a record probably that he was trying to look after. That's pretty impressive. You barely hit the rim.
Is Simon Mitchell watching this? Is he
getting some shots?
Because I need to see some plays for Rowdy to come off and get some three-point shots, because what's the point in having a strap like that if you're not going to be able to use it in the game?
But, Damon, this is your first time on the crossover with Pete or on any proper little magazine show with Pete. Now, contractually, when we mention three-point shooting on any program, we have to bring up the time that he hit a game-winning three-point shot heading into March Madness to get your school to March Madness. Look at this.
Have a look at this. I actually was trying to run back. Have you seen this before, Damon?
A couple times.
Have you really? It's not even March. It's great to see.
Well, the best part about this was that you beat world-renowned Stony Brook. Stony Brook is just an absolute powerhouse. You hear your North Carolinas, your Dukes, but Stony Brook, man, to be able to upset and beat them, you guys would have been $51 to get this.
And the iconic thing is that my hair's still just hanging on there, but the beard was looking luscious. That's a 11 a.m. morning game, because that's like in the mid-major school, 11 a.m. You don't get to sleep beforehand.
As going to a mid-major, there's a lot of things that I was doing at 11 a.m. definitely didn't result in us getting to March Madness. But you did it twice as well. Like, you didn't just do this once. You did this 2 years in a row. And for those that don't know, we joke around a lot of this show, but what was about to happen there is actually an incredibly beautiful moment. So if you want to look up Pete Hooley, Stony Brook, you're going to see one of the best moments in college sports, which went on ESPN, everything.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Look, we're sitting here with, I feel bad, we're sitting here with one of the most iconic shooting displays we've ever seen. Now, Damon, we've seen this. Everybody talks about this, but we probably haven't seen the vision for a while. So let's have a look at one of the most iconic shooting displays of all time. Roll the tape.
Casper Ware was looking for it. Von Hoff decides to go. Stiff pass. Here's Von Hoff. He's not shy. He's cranking up shots. That's none of 3 from the field.
My man John Casey just dropped
His
the other
field
one.
debut.
Go again,
Anderson.
2 for $1.
He tries like again. That's none of 4. And now Von Hoff.
Back down the floor. The crowd want a 3. Von Hoff puts up a shot. Oh, it rims out.
That was another one.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
Have a look at
straight
this.
in
Yes.
with a 2. Felix
Look at the
Von
hair,
Hoff,
by the way.
microwave.
Hang on, I just realised. So that's your only career point.
You missed about 4 misses from the Adelaide game.
That was your only career point.
Yeah.
If we go back and have a look at that career points, let's have another look at exactly maybe who was the one part. Look at that. Number 7, that's me trying to get my friend a bucket because he couldn't shoot to save a lick. And have a look at this. He nearly fumbles it. He wasn't even looking. Daniel Johnson nearly gets his first steal in his career. And in the end, he needs a layup to get on the board.
You want to talk about Mitch Creek hospital passes? I had Odell Beckham hands to try to rein that thing back in.
Trying to catch it with your elbow.
But anyway, fantastic to not creep that one in the rundown. But as soon as you started talking about shooting displays, I knew exactly what was coming. And I think contractually, do we have to head to your 3 free throws?
Well, no, we
we're
haven't
good.
got hard enough. Have you seen a worse shooting display? I was on debut, by the way, in the Adelaide game. Joey Wright is screaming to leave him open. It's one of the funniest things. Literally screaming, just leave him open. John Casey, by the way, we had to talk to Case. I didn't realise how hard he went.
He went in hard.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Was it like next one's going in? How'd you feel?
Oh, mate, I was just, when you're in the zone, people talk about when you get in the zone, that the thing just feels like a garbage bin right there, and I'm just loading them up. It felt like I was shooting a garbage bin. But this week's Who Ya should be me. Weaker men would not have turned up to work with the kink in the neck that I have today. Weaker men would not be right here today, but I'm here because I need the paycheck. But anyway, it's time to get to what in the world, because, look, Sean Bruce playing some fantastic basketball in the moment, and I understand when you're a sort of fringe player, sometimes you've got to do a little bit more to make sure you get that contract the next year. And I think Sean Bruce might be taken a little bit far if we look to the Huddle podcast this week and what was in the background.
Does that have anything on it? No. That's a good talking point. Oh, no, don't take off. What the hell?
That's even better.
Who is that?
Smithy.
Oh, my God.
Now, unfortunately, this video was taken on a Nokia 600, so we can't exactly make out who that was, but it is Paul Smith. Having your coach in the background dressed as a king, questionable. Is it going to get him that extra couple of years? Because I think he's playing well enough to not need.
I mean, look, Sean is a championship dude now. You don't need to do that kind of stuff. Did he know that was there? Is that why they had the whiteboard covering up?
I think that's one. In dodgeball, when David Hasselhoff has the picture before the game, I think that's what they do. They just hang around the picture of Paul Smith. They all chant and then go out there and win a game.
Well, I think Paul Smith dresses like this on a day-to-day basis based on a couple of snitches we have on the ground in Sydney. There we go, rocking up to practice. Now, this was actually submitted by Paul himself, I may add. So, fantastic. But you know what? If the Sydney Kings were winning, we're losing, I'd be able to rip in right now. But winning games really quietens the haters, such as myself, drink the Haterade on a regular basis. Really quietens them up, doesn't it?
Well, the way they're winning, the way they're going about their business, they're favourites to win back-to-back, which is hard to do. And I think he can wear whatever he wants on the sideline the way they're going.
He's not Jon Snow. He's not the king of the North.
Do you want one of those? Do you want one of those pictures?
I could probably do with a crown. Maybe not the cape.
Well, I'll tell you what, you ran 60 kilometres today, so you can get some type of crown. But let's talk about Josh Giddey for a moment, because fashion in the world. Now, your fashion seems, if you are rich, now this is before Josh Giddey happened to fall into millions and millions of dollars in the NBA.
That's not
now,
bad.
Draft night, still, that's like an MJ Bale suit right there, or maybe a men's club one, which is a bit nicer. Now, all of a sudden, the kid's got money, he starts wearing the fluoro.
Is that a Louis V?
That's, I don't know what that is, but I'm not sure if I'd be rolling around in it.
And he's a prone Instagram story from every game walking into it. And you know how you get the shower bag? I'd love to know what's in his shower bag. I don't think there'd be a whole lot in there.
Oh, I love it. I tell you what, as soon as people get rich, the colours just go all the way out here. That's why the two men next to me are dressed like little opened clinkers.
Josh, don't change. Don't change.
Time to get to a break. Coming up, we're going to analyse Melbourne and Tassie. Coming up next. Big buckets, big boards, big heart. Derek was undeniable in November, constantly using his fearless finisher badge to carve his way to the rim and dominate the paint. Pardon's taken home the NBA 2K23 NBL Spotlight Player of the Month honours after leading the Breakers to the top end of the table in the month of November. Dominant from start to finish was the big man, Derek Pardon.
Nice finish by Pardon.
Now, I've heard the name underrated come around plenty of times with Derek Pardon. I think now that he's got that finisher badge right there, I think he's going to start to get a little more media attention, but it's hard when everyone else is playing so well.
He's unbelievable. Again, the perfect piece for them. Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he's filling it up on both ends.
We can see right there, John Cain Arena starting to get locked and loaded. Melbourne United taking on the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. Melbourne United in much need of this win, especially in front of their home fans. I love that multicultural jersey, one of the best things they do all year. How do you think we're going?
Look, Tassie, you've got the Mickey over Melbourne United. They won 5 of their last 6. This is going to be a huge game.
Normally when Tassie comes off a loss, they tend to bounce back very strongly. So I'm expecting a Tassie win. Looking forward to see how Marcus Lee goes. Second game under his belt.
Well, it's always big to get that second game. The jet lag's out, no excuses now. But you were saying before the show, Pete, the parity in this league, the loser of this game, will fall to have the second worst record in the league, which is insane. The difference between winning and losing has never been greater in this league.
Yeah, look, this is a massive game. And Melbourne United, if they lose this game, will have tied their all-time losing home season record. So that's another reason they want to start winning. I'm with you, though. Great jersey.
Well, you are the king of terrible predictions, Pete, so it'd be rude of us to not just curse the audience with one from you. Melbourne, Tassie, how much?
Hawks by 4.
Tassie by 12.
I was actually going to call you up on that, but anyway, get ready to enjoy the game. You've got the dulcet tones of John Casey riding you through it.